What's up guys, it's Scoopman5000 back for another action figure review, and today we're looking at the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse, Zack Snyder's Justice League, gold label, armored up Darkseid. And that is probably the longest introduction I can give to a figure for a figure that is essentially a variant of the original Darkseid. But since I didn't review that figure, and this is a bit more exciting because he's got the armored up look, we're going to take a look at this one. So you can see, big, gigantic box does not fit in the frame. That's what it looks like next to a regular McFarlane. On the back, black and white image. Over here you can see all the standard releases. Here's the original Darkseid with the colored photo, and then the Steppenwolf. If you are tracking them, there you go. This is a Target only, gold label, think San Diego Comic-Con related figure, but he's just showing up now. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna open him up. We're gonna take a look. And here is Darkseid out of the packaging. Had to push him all the way back to fit him into the frame here. A big, massive, beefy boy this is. For accessories, of course, we get the black figure stand and the trading card we get with every single DC Multiverse figure. On the back, you have the bio, and then his only real accessory is the weapon, the spear. Tons of shapes and unique directions on the blade here. And this is one of those figures where you got to do the comparisons right away, because this is a variant release of the original, or at the very least a slightly modified version. So you can see most of these parts are identical, and you can see all the different armors, the hands are the same. It's just that middle torso. But it is pretty crazy how big of a difference that makes, because that original Darkseid, while is not easy to find, I would say this has been a hard to find figure. And if you're buying him on eBay, very expensive. So a lot of people are upset at McFarlane for making this a variant, making this a hard to get variant at that. And I have to say, I don't disagree with them. If you think of Darkseid, this is the look. Justice League might be the first time we've seen a shirtless Darkseid, or at the very least in a mainstream big story capacity. But I did not review the first figure, so we're gonna go over everything. So we're gonna pan up a bit with the camera, and we're gonna try to fit this dude into frame and look at that head sculpt. I think what they could have done here to kind of make this better was give us some real bright red eyes for the Omega Beam effect. I think that would have taken this figure to the next level, made this variant maybe more enticing for those who weren't interested. So the shoulder armor is the same from the previous figure. Nice cobalt colors and paints or plastics are being used there. And then the unique piece here is the rubber overlay that goes on the torso. And you can see this is where it's attaching, it looks like, but it wraps around the whole thing. And we'll get into articulation later, we'll see how that hinders it, but it is a flexible piece. And I love the geometric look that they went for, similar to Steppenwolf, but it's a bit more refined. It's a bit less of a mess than Steppenwolf's design is. More of that armor, it looks like it's almost shaping to his body. It's like a construct. So it's shaping onto the thighs here. And there's a little bit of bleeding paint here, which is unfortunate on this thigh. And then the boots, same type of deal. We missed out on the gauntlets as well. And then he's got a little bit of a crop top, midriff action going on here. And I guess that's just to give him a bit more free movement, but I don't remember if that's what it looked like in the movie. But there is just a slight gray gap here between the shirt and with the bottom. For his articulation, the head is on a ball joint, it looks like, or a dumbbell, and it's really not moving that much. You can see moving it forward, that's taken off the head, and you can see how that works. Interesting that he's hollow on the inside of the head. We'll go ahead and peg that back into place, hopefully not breaking anything in the process. But yeah, not the best head movement. You can really see this is about it. For the torso, this was on a ball joint before, and it had that big gap on the original, but here, really not moving much either. So I don't know if if it's because this is restricting it or something is not really giving me a lot of movement here. If you could really force it and you can move it around, but for the most part, this is useless. This is going to stay in place. So all the movement on the torso is going to be reliant on this bottom joint at the waist, which is doing it nice, so I guess I can't complain. Slightest amount of butterfly there. Shoulder goes all the way up. Bicep cut is big and beefy, and it's here. Elbow is double. You see it going that far. The wrists are going to hinge and swivel, and I'm noticing kind of a ratcheting look here, which is kind of ugly, so we'll bring the hand back up. Legs split out. Familiar McFarlane system there. Doesn't kick back too far. Forward just about that much. Single knee goes that far. And then the McFarlane ball joint at the foot. Slight amount of rocker and up and down hinge. And we can't forget about the toe hinge as well. And that is Darkseid. Not a lot of this is going to come as a shock if you have the original, and maybe the articulation isn't the best, but still, this is a great figure. I love the look, and I love the source material, so obviously I'm going to love it. With that, we're going to go ahead, we're going to bring in some other figures, and let's do some comparison. And so we'll get the original release out of the way, and like I said before, everything here is the same. We just got the overlay on the torso, but maybe it is a new torso, because I can't seem to move it. And it really does make a big difference. This is a really ugly torso joint. It looks gappy. It looks better in person, I'll admit, but still not perfect. And it makes him look thin and slender and maybe not as imposing as he should. This solves that problem. So we had a great figure, but we did need that armor. And then we'll show him here with his right-hand man, or I should say his servant, and that is Steppenwolf. And both of these guys similarly size scaled to fight the Justice League, two big beefy hoss dudes, and obviously a pretty complex relationship for some big evil villains. And then I definitely have been waiting to do this. Here he is with the Injustice 2, or I should say Injustice Gods Among Us, even though it is an Injustice 2 design. Storm Collectibles Darkseid. And we're looking at about a $70 price difference. Darkseid is around a $100 figure. Might even be more if he's out of stock, but I think you could still get him pretty easily. And I mean, you could look at this and you could say, okay, this one's 30, this one's 100, so obviously you go with the new one. But I think this Darkseid is definitive. This is it right here. So if you're really looking for a Darkseid, Storm Collectibles is still going to have my recommendation. I think he is 100% worth any amount of money you pay for him. Then we'll show him here with Superman on the flight stand. I thought that would be interesting. You can see they're almost head to head here. So if you're having them fight on the shelf, the DC Multiverse flight stand is going to go well with the Superman creating this scene. We just looked at Thanos. He's still on the desk, so I figured I'd throw these two in here. A lot of similarities and similar backgrounds for these two, but obviously Thanos being a 6-inch scale figure is going to be a bit smaller. If you want to put him with your comic McFarlane figures, here he is with Detective Comics Batman and Action Comics Superman. He might look a bit busy, but the scale works, and I think you can get away with it. But obviously he's much more at home with the Snyder Cut released figures, and that is Batman and Cyborg. And then if you see my other video, you can check out the whole league and you could kind of figure out how he's going to scale. And overall, that is going to do it for the DC Multiverse Gold Label Darkseid. And I'm glad to have the complete collection of these Justice League Snyder Cut figures for now, but I'll take any more that McFarlane wants to make, so keep on doing it. I think the line is doing well, especially these mega figs of Steppenwolf Darkseid and this Gold Label especially. Very hard to find, very sought after figures. If you find them in the wild, it's got my recommendation. You can check out my review of the red and blue Superman I did a couple days ago, or about a week ago at this point. It's back on the channel. As always, I'm going to take some pictures and leave them on my Instagram, as well as the end of this video. And until next time, I'll see you guys in the next action figure review.